I've created 10 daily habits that have helped propel me to where I am today as far as my tidiness goals, my fitness goals, my money goals, basically all the goals. Hi, my name is Mindy and I talk about making space in our everyday lives for the important things. Okay, so my 10 goals may or may not apply to your specific situation, but the methods that I use to get to these goals will apply to everybody. So listen to the end, because as I talk about each habit, I'm going to talk about how you can apply it to your specific situation. Habit number 1, dishes. I know, everyone's like, do the dishes, do the dishes. I hear you. And I wish it weren't true, because it was a really, really hard habit to pick up. This is the first habit that I picked up that propelled me into being a tidy person. James Clear talks in his book, Atomic Habits. In order to pick up a habit, it is way more helpful if you identify yourself as the kind of person that does that thing. And so it was like, I am a tidy person, therefore I do the dishes. And then from there, I wiped the counters. And then from there, I swept the floor. And then I cleared the little clutter piles off of the floor. And then I started doing the laundry and having a laundry system. And it continued on. And now I'm still like not totally tidy, but it's way better than it used to be. And I'm still growing in this way. And I'm still letting this habit spread. So wherever you are in your journey, you can identify yourself as the kind of person who would do the thing. Even if you aren't the kind of person who would do the thing, you can become that person just by making a decision and implementing a very small habit. Habit number 2, I started making coffee the night before. Now, not actually clicking the on button, but I would put the coffee together so that in the morning, all I have to do is push the on button. Actually, for a while, I was even setting the timer to automatically brew at a certain time. And talk about like game changing, okay? So I used to wake up in the morning and be like, oh, it's morning time. And I'd feel kind of okay with it. And then I'd be like, oh, but I have to make coffee. And for some reason, making coffee was like, I just dreaded it. And I don't know what it was, but like something about like, why does it take so long to fill a coffee pot with water? It feels like 10 years. It's not 10 years, it's like 45 seconds, but oh my gosh, in the morning when you just want to drink your coffee, standing there with the coffee pot, filling it up and cleaning out the filter and all this stuff, it's so annoying. So I changed one of the most annoying parts of my day to one of the best parts, because now I would wake up to the smell of coffee. And then much like one of those old-timey cartoons, it's like my feet would pick up and I would like float downstairs, kind of in this like magical way, instead of being all grumbly. That in turn helped me to become more of a morning person, and I'm going to talk about that in a later tip. So stay tuned. Tip number 3, I learned to start flossing my teeth every day. Wait a minute, Mindy, you don't floss your teeth every day? Disgusting. Hold on, okay, I do floss my teeth every day now, but honestly, I didn't for my whole life. It's just not a habit that we learned as children in my household. And it just wasn't something that I really picked up on. So what made me start flossing my teeth all of a sudden? I read something about if you want to stop being such a hot mess and you want to be more pulled together, then envision the person that you want to be. And actually pick a person if you can, whether it's a movie star or someone you know in real life or just a vision of a person. And then just try to do the things that you think that person would do. And so I read that, and then I kind of let it mull around in my head for a couple of days. So one day I was flossing my teeth. Wait. But I just said I didn't floss my teeth. Oh yeah, it's because I had a dentist appointment the next day. And so yes, I did floss my teeth once every 6 months. Like that was fooling anybody. So as I'm like angrily doing my semi-annual teeth flossing, I thought, I bet so-and-so flosses her teeth every day. And she's so successful, sickening. And then I was like, wait a minute, if the great divide between a hot mess and so-and-so is flossing your teeth, that is like $4 and 1 minute a day of a commitment. I think I can actually do that. So then I set myself up for success by getting floss that I liked and putting it on top of my toothpaste. So I can't forget to do it now, right? Because I have to physically move the floss to get to the toothpaste. So I created a cue for myself. And then that kind of led to other things and other types of self-care. Like, when I was in the shower and I noticed that my feet were kind of gnarly, and I was like, again, so-and-so doesn't have gnarly feet. They have beautiful baby soft skin feet. And that prompted me to get one of those like scratchy things that you use on your feet. I can't remember, what's it called? Anyways, I have one of those, and now I spend like 1 minute in the shower every day, just like loofah my feet, and it makes a huge difference, and it makes me feel successful, and it makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself to do these small things. So again, I am a successful, put together, not hot mess. Therefore, I floss my teeth and I loofah my feet. Floss my teeth and loofah my feet. Rhymes. So in order to remember to make the coffee and in order to remember to floss, I did a thing called habit stacking, which James Clear talks about in the book Atomic Habits. I'll link it. I had to link the new habit with a habit I already had. So when I came downstairs from putting my daughter to bed, I was already used to doing the dishes. So as I was wiping the counters then, I would see the coffee pot and I would make the coffee. And that was a habit stack because what you've just done determines what you do next is the concept behind habit stacking. So I was able to like build those habits, and then from there I would go to bed and I would see the floss on top of the toothpaste and I would start to floss. So then again, I was like stacking the habit of flossing my teeth along with brushing my teeth and by giving myself a visual cue. By the way, if this video is helpful to you, it would be so awesome if you would click the like button. I guess it helps YouTube know to show this video to other people. And I would love it if you would subscribe so we can spend more time together. Tip number 4, coffee workout. Let me tell you what it is. So eventually I stopped setting my coffee pot to brew at a certain time because I kept finding myself waking up earlier than the coffee even brewed. And so I was starting it just the same. And I started using the brew time to do what I called a coffee workout. So at first, while the coffee was brewing, I started out with a 1-minute plank. No special clothes, no special anything, no shoes, still in my pajamas. I would click the on button and I would drop to the floor, setting my phone for like a 1-minute timer. And I would do 1-minute plank. I am a fit person, therefore I exercise, even if it's for 60 seconds every day. But here's the thing, 1-minute plank became 2-minute plank. 2-minute plank became 2-minute plank plus 20 sit-ups plus 10 push-ups. Then that became 2-minute plank, 25 push-ups, 50 sit-ups. Then I trained for a 5K. Then I found that I actually really enjoy running. Now I don't do those morning routines anymore, but I identify as a person who's fit. And whenever I have a chance, which is usually at least a few times a week, I go out and run. I used the habit to fulfill its mission. I was able to become a fit person and incorporate daily fitness or nearly daily fitness into my life without any kind of cue or special reward. I just genuinely enjoy it. And so the big lesson with this tip is that the habit's only going to stick if you can find a way to love it. Okay, I didn't love the plank and I didn't love the push-up, but I did find that I loved running. And in the future, I think that I will end up putting other aspects of fitness into my life. Right now, the best I can do is 3 or 4 runs a week, and I'm okay with that. Tip number 5, I stopped drinking soda. Oh, this one was hard. It was so hard. I was a soda fiend. I drank like 8 sodas a day, and that is not an exaggeration. That is not a joke. I would literally pop 8 sodas a day. And I didn't start out with no sodas. I started out with like only ordering soda when I went out to a restaurant so that it was special. And then I cut down and I cut down and I cut down until I found that I didn't even care for the flavor anymore. And I switched over to water and iced tea. I continued on that habit and it made a world of difference. I'm not gonna go on and on about this because it's not what the video is about, but I found when I cut out the sugar, then I cut out the chocolate. And when I cut out the sugar and chocolate, I found that those were migraine triggers for me. And then I was able to identify that MSG was also a migraine trigger for me. Finding this out not only gave me days back to my month, it also made me more cognitively aware when I was awake. Like I didn't have the cloud over me. I didn't have the physical problems that I was having. If you're finding that you have some kind of physical ailment or illness or something you struggle with, just consider the fact that it may be diet, and it maybe not even sugar, you know, maybe it's wheat, maybe it's corn, maybe it's red dye, maybe, I don't know, there's a bazillion things. We have to be our own advocates, and I won't go on about it anymore because I could go on about it all day long. Habit number 6, I started planning my time. And I'm not just talking about my work time. I'm not talking about 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. No, I am talking about my evenings and my weekends. And I started planning them and blocking them and defending that time even more than I did my work hours. So through blocking my time on my evenings and my weekends, I've been able to schedule in meal planning and online grocery shopping and one-on-one time with my daughter and tidying and all the other habits that I wanted to do and all the things that I wanted to be and saw myself being. I scheduled them. People say what gets written down gets completed, but I read an even better saying, that which gets scheduled gets completed. And that, my friends, is the truth. That's when I was able to make huge progress on all of my personal goals when I started counting that time. You might be thinking, oh, that's so stiff, and I'm a free spirit and I don't want to be like locked into a schedule. Look, just because you write down a schedule and you have plans and times that you want to complete things, it doesn't mean that things have to go the way you want them to go every single day, or that you can't, throw your plans out the window and go have lunch with friends or whatever the case may be. But making that time and defending it against unimportant things will allow you to reach your goals. So this was a tip that I got from the book 168 Hours, You Have More Time Than You Think by Laura Vanderkam. And I just think that book is so brilliant. And by the way, her audiobooks, she narrates them herself and her voice is like butter. I think I have like a small crush. It's one way because she doesn't know who I am. I'm okay with that. Tip number 7. Okay, you guys, we're getting personal here, but we're friends like this, right? And it's a little bit of TMI, but I feel like I can just be frank with you, okay? Tip number 7, I stopped picking my face. Please be kind. This is a hard one to talk about. I think more people struggle with it, and I think that it's taboo to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it now. That was my problem, but I think that most of us have some kind of taboo habit or something that we do. If there's some little weird habit that you have, maybe you make a weird noise when you're stressed out or whatever the case may be. If you try to mask that habit, then chances are you probably wish you could change it. Here's what I did. I used Atomic Habits. And at first I used it on accident, but then I used it on purpose. Let me explain. So the first thing that I did was I renovated my bathroom. Not because I had this inclination to touch my face, but because I happened to be renovating my bathroom. That meant I could only use the upstairs bathroom. And you know what? The vanity space is deep in the upstairs bathroom, where it's very shallow in the bathroom that was being renovated. Without the ability to lean into the mirror, I just automatically stopped touching my face. So then I was like, wait a minute. A couple weeks went by, the renovation completed, my face looked way better. And I was like, seems like I could create some kind of fake situation where I can't lean against this counter anymore, because I recognized then, after I saw the link between me leaning against the counter, that it was really when my body pushed against the vanity, that was the cue to touch my face. I had to stop the habit. So first of all, I just stopped using the downstairs bathroom for a little while. And then once I kind of got comfortable with a couple more weeks under my belt, then I would use the bathroom, but think to yourself, don't lean against the cabinet. And then I still would sometimes, and I'd be like, well, no, the cabinet, my body can't touch the cabinet. So I had to completely remove the cue at first, and then help to remind myself about the cue. And then as I started to see positive changes, and let me just say, I read about how to stop touching your face, how you could curb this habit. And a lot of the advice out there was oh, it's because you don't love yourself or you don't deem yourself worthy. Baloney. Anybody who's seen Dr. Pimple Popper knows that it is just satisfying to watch that kind of weird, gross stuff. Okay, I'm just saying. But I'm happy to say that that habit is vastly out of my life now. And the reason I bring it up is because, you guys, if you have a habit or some kind of weird little quirky thing that you do, it's within your power to change it. All you have to do is recognize what your cue is and remove the cue. You can use Atomic Habits in reverse. Instead of making a cue that causes you to do something, create a cue that prevents you from doing something. Make it rewarding not to do it. I started taking better care of my face and washing it more often and using a prescribed Retin-A cream and doing other things that made me feel fantastic. And then I noticed that when I eat lots of vegetables and spinach especially, that my face had like kind of a nice kind of texture to it. And so all of these things led to better self-care. And because I'm a person who prioritizes self-care, I take care of my skin. So it all ties in together. And I hope that you can see at this point that we're in charge of our habits. Tip number 8, we're getting there, guys. I created a mission and a daily reminder of my mission. Now, if you haven't seen it, I made a video about this. It's about your big dreams, and I'll put a link up there. But you guys, you can't get where you're going if you don't know where you're going. Once I codified my mission in writing that I want to be financially independent by March of 2031 so that I can spend more time with my daughter while she still lives at home, and so that I can devote a large portion of my time to music, I was able to make decisions that led me to that. Now, obviously, I have more goals than that. You're hearing about my fitness goals and my self-care goals, and that stuff can all work its way in too. But knowing what your big overarching goal is helps you to make your small habit. First of all, I have it taped on my computer. And then also, this is just kind of a fun thing. When I'm creating a password, I'll use some kind of like messed up formulation of some keywords in my goal, like in my big goal. And then every time I enter in a password, it's just kind of like a little reminder of what I'm doing here and what my goals are and what I want to do. And it's really kind of uplifting and fun. So that daily reminder keeps me motivated, and it keeps me on track, and it helps me to move forward even on the tough days and get the thing done that I don't want to do so that I can get to where I want to be. Tip number 9. This one's overtold. I know it is, but wake up early. Now, you can modify this, okay? If you're not a morning person and you have no intention, that's okay. But identify the time of your day that you want to be your time, and then protect that time. For me, with kids and whatever, and a full-time job and everything that is going on in my life, the morning makes the most sense for me. Also, I'm super productive in the morning, and I love the mornings. I didn't always. I used to have a job that kept me out often until 4 in the morning. So mornings were not always in my repertoire, but I have adjusted that over time, and with my current schedule, that it does make sense for me. And basically, most of my big goals and of my major habits and the ways that I identify myself now can be traced back to the morning time when I fit in a tiny habit. Everything from my fitness habits, my meal planning habits, my online grocery shopping, my tidying habits, and currently I use that time to make videos for this channel. So if there's any way that you can inspire yourself to set aside a block of time, whether that's waking up early or using your evening time, or if you can get a chunk in the day, get that time, and it is sacred and you use it. Number 10, we've made it to number 10, folks. Habit number 10 is in the works, and I need your help. Okay, for reals. Habit number 10 for me is a mindset shift that I am trying to do with myself. I have a tendency to panic all the time that things aren't done. I'm not doing enough. I'm not accomplishing enough. I'm not reaching my goals. And even when I have a little bit of downtime, I start to like vibrate in my own brain. And y'all, it's not healthy. And I know that. So whenever I start to vibrate in my brain, I'm trying to think everything is fine and everything that needs to be done is done. Okay? Because let's be real, it is. My child is fed. My house is reasonable. I'm okay. And there's no reason for me to panic about not doing enough, or that I should somehow be fitting more into every day. So I'm trying to set up a cue for this, but it's really hard, other than trying to like cognitively recognize when I'm starting to vibrate in my head. Just taking a breath and saying, everything is fine, because it actually is. So if any of you have a tip on what I could do to be better about recognizing this this craziness, monkey brain that I have and slowing it down, I would love it. It would be so helpful to me if you would help me and leave a comment and tell me what you've done or what you might do to help with that. That'd be super helpful. Okay, you guys, so we talked about 10 habits. I want to wrap this up by saying, hopefully you can see that by creating your big goals and knowing the kind of person that you want to be, that you can pick a tiny, teeny habit, something that takes less than a couple of minutes. And by creating small habits that will slowly change your identity of yourself into the identity that you want to be. I super hope that these 10 habits have been helpful to you and the process and method that I used to set them and why I chose the habits I chose. Also, just so you know, it's not like I was like, oh, I'm going to do these 10 habits and it's going to be amazing. It wasn't. I failed a lot of times before I found a habit that stuck. So if you try and it doesn't work, just know that the first time you try a habit, it rarely works. Use the methods behind creating these tips to create your own 10 habits, whatever they may be. Maybe some of them are the same as mine. Maybe you have 10 habits that are just yours. All right, go forth, enjoy. If you stayed to the end, and this was a long one, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.